Hey guys, welcome to the unofficial video on how to install the LR Bags Lyric pickup. If you've never done this before, stick around. I'm going to show you everything you need to know to be able to do this successfully. This does require that you drill a hole through the tail block of your guitar, so it's a good idea to have a set of calipers on hand or so you can measure diameters. That actually measured at around 0.46 inches, so I'm going to use a 1/2 inch bit. And more specifically, I'm going to be using a brad point bit. I'll show you the point at the top there that sticks out in the center. I highly recommend you get a set of those. You could also use a in-pin reamer. Before you do though, measure the largest portion of it so you don't blow out a giant hole in the tail block of your guitar. Here's a close-up look at the in-pin jack and the preamp, the hardware that goes along with it. On the larger threaded portion is going to be going through the tail block. There's a nut, a lock washer, and a flat washer, and that goes inside of the guitar. Then on the outside of that, what sticks out on the other side is a large flat washer and a nut, followed by the strap button. And as you can see here, the strap button actually covers the nut, so everything's real pretty on the outside of the guitar. Here's a look at the microphone that will actually install inside the guitar on the bridge patch. They're making it real easy on you by installing the double-sided tape for you ahead of time. Here is the volume control as well as the mic presence control. This is going to install just inside the sound hole. This mic requires a 9-volt battery, and they supply you a pouch so that you can install it on the inside of your guitar as well. Inside the pouch, they have some wire ties so you can tidy up the wiring harness to make sure it's not going to rattle on the top or the bottom, and you don't want to see it. If you've never done this before, I would highly recommend that you go to lrbags.com/support and look up your pickup, and there you can find installation instructions. When I'm doing a project such as this one where I'm going to be reaching inside the sound hole several times throughout the course of the install, I like to put something around that area to help protect it. In this case, I'm using some low-tack tape. This guitar is a new build, and I haven't installed an end pin, so I'm using a ruler to mark out the center. If your guitar already has an end pin, you'll just be removing it and enlarging it to fit the pickup hardware. In this shot, I'm preparing a backup block that I'm actually gonna reach inside the guitar with and hold it up against the tail block so that when I drill through it, I'm gonna drill into that block, and that'll minimize the chance that I'm gonna blow out a large chunk of wood on the inside of the tail block. So I've measured center top to bottom, and now I need to measure center, side to side on the end wedge, and then I'm going to use a scratch awl to make a mark to make it a little easier to start my drill bit. All right, it's time to drill a hole in a guitar. If you don't use a drill very often, you might want to get somebody to help hold the guitar steady. That way you can concentrate more on drilling straight. Now here, I'm not drilling all the way through just yet. I'm just getting the hole started. And next I'm gonna reach inside and place that backup block against the tail block and continue drilling all the way through. Now I have the guitar laid down flat just to help stabilize it, and I have my arm inside the guitar holding the backup block against the tail block, and I'm going to continue drilling all the way through. Here's what it should look like on the outside of the guitar, and let me show you the inside. This is what it should look like on the inside. Nice clean hole. We avoided any large chip out. Now we're moving on to installing the in-pin jack and placing the harness down inside the guitar. I have the nut, the lock washer, and the flat washer already installed on it. I'm going to place it through the tail block. And now I'm installing the large flat washer, the nut, and then I'm going to tighten it and install the strap button. I'm going to tighten the nut with a 12mm deep well socket. I'm going to do this by hand. Do not use a ratchet. You don't want to over tighten this. You want it snug, you don't want it to vibrate loose, but too tight could cause problems. Now I'm installing the strap button. You don't want to over tighten this either. You want this tight as in tight with your fingers, not tight with a pair of pliers. So let's take another look inside the guitar. You can see we're centered up nicely and seated nicely against the tail block. time to keep moving. This next shot isn't great, but I still wanted to show it. You are going to stick the microphone to the bridge patch right underneath the saddle location. I would suggest that you install the bridge pin so you have a physical reference you can feel to help you locate it. Here is the battery pouch. This is going to store the 9-volt battery. It's attached to a piece of Velcro fabric that has some double-sided tape stuck to it, and I'll be installing that on the upper bout inside the guitar. Here's the volume control going in. Don't be afraid to do a dry run here and kind of feel out where exactly you want to attach that. You might even want to look inside the guitar with a mirror or your phone so you can see those sound hole supports and see what you have to attach it to. Now I'm attaching the double-sided tape to the volume control and I'm installing it inside the guitar. So let's take another look inside the guitar. We've already seen the in pin and preamp. There's the microphone. Off camera, I installed 3 of the wire ties. I'm going to install 1 more to tidy up that harness a little better. I like to install the wire ties on the side in the upper bout, and I like to hide it, as good as I can. Now with that installed, let's get one more look inside the guitar to check out the wiring harness. You don't have to do it exactly how I've shown here in this video, but I would suggest that however you go about it, you control the wiring harness in a way that keeps it from vibrating or rattling against the top or the back. Here's a final look at the guitar. We have the clean strap button. We're going to look at the sound hole here. The volume control is tucked away nicely. The battery's already installed, and that's it. This thing's ready to be plugged in. If you have any questions or comments, please drop them below. If you found any of this to be helpful, please like and subscribe, and I'll continue to share the projects that I'm working on. Thanks for watching.